very sad time and a very happy time. It's a sad time because I just spent $4,000 on my 32-inch, 22 horsepower PROMAX34 field and brush mower. But it's a happy time because today I'm clearing land. I have a lot of land to clear. There is a 30-foot wide by 500-foot long driveway and probably about an acre of land to clear out there. So this thing's rated to clear up to 3-inch saplings, and I know there is definitely some 3-inch saplings, a lot of thicker stuff, a lot of smaller stuff too. And so I'm really gonna stress test this thing with some severe brush. I'm definitely gonna be trying to cut 3-inch saplings, probably even thicker. So we'll see what happens and we'll see what this thing's all about. This is the big boy. It cost me $4,000 including taxes. And so I hope it works for me and does the job. So yesterday we put it together. It was super simple. We just had to put the belt on, put some gas in, connect the battery, pour some oil in there, and then you do a cycle where you engage and disengage the PTO. So just the blade clutch pretty much. You do it 50 times. On, off, on for 2 seconds, off for 10 seconds. You just cycle it. So we put it together. It was really, really easy. So I don't even care about showing you guys the video of that. Let's check out what this bad boy is capable of and how fast I can clear some land with it. So in about 3 minutes, we cleared all of this stuff. This was all inch thick. It looks like we have like 1.5 inches right here. So it mowed it down super easily. I didn't have to work at all. Here's my apple tree. So we made this nice little path in about 3 or 4 minutes. And so I'm going to attack some of the bigger stuff. So this one looks like it's got some 3-inch in there, and it's like a big bush. So I'm gonna attack this thing and try and just go back into the woods now. Burning oil. Keep it filming. Dude, I think you tilted it too much and started burning some oil. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I got scared, so I just turned it off. Well, maybe not scared. I just didn't know what was happening. Yeah, that's all. All right, so you can't go vertical. No. Limitation. That's okay. I think it'll clear right up when you start it back up. I think it will too. I think I'm gonna go around this bush. All right. And I'll come like, especially if you just chainsaw it down real quick. You just eat it alive later. You just can't tilt it that far. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a 2.5 inch right there, or 3 inches. Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm gonna start it back up. All right. Smoking out the mosquitoes. You guys see the oil? Yeah. Well, when it tilts it back, it goes past the ring. So I put in about 30 minutes, I'll say 30, 25 minutes of mowing, and there's my apple tree hanging out all by itself. This was all like this right here, but it's clear now. So, I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of work, but we have our first problem. So, I mean, this is a brush hog. You got to go through brush, and this branch right here, it's probably about 2 inches or so. It snuck behind here, got behind the wheel, and it broke my spark plug. So I need to run to the store and get a new spark plug and change that out real quick, which isn't too hard, but it's kind of like just a dumb design that it's right there. But I mean, other than that, this thing is a beast. I mean, I'm shredding stuff like this down to the ground. So that's like solid 3 inches at the ground. It is hard to push this stuff over though. It doesn't just mow it right over. You got to really work to get the thick ones. But anything that's 2 inches, it just gets eaten alive. Like this stuff, 1 inch, 2 inches, those are no problem. But the 3 inch stuff definitely is like near a limitation because it's just hard to push it over to get on top of it. But yeah, I broke a spark plug, which kind of sucks. And so I have to take a break after just a half hour of work and fix the machine. I walked back in the forest and I kind of got lost. I walked way over there and through the woods, but I found the yurt and it's still standing after 6 weeks. Looks kind of sad, but I'll fix it later. So it's 3 o'clock and I probably did about 5 hours of work so far. So I'm gonna give a quick tour to see how much you can do in about 5 hours. There's the apple tree, I love that guy. So if it's like brush like this and all this stuff right here, no problem, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet, that's totally good. When you start getting to like the 12-foot stuff and it's real thick at the bottom like that, that's kind of when you hit the limitation of the machine. You can kind of push it down and get on top of it and just like slowly mow it down, but that's like kind of the limitation. It's probably better to get a chainsaw and cut that stuff down and then throw it in a chipper or something and then rip the roots out however. But I'll walk down the path. So this is the first area right here. All this stuff was super quick, maybe a half an hour to chop all this stuff because it was short. And then came over here, decided to work on the driveway so that I don't have to come down these power lines and bother my neighbor because his house is right along the lines over there. And so this is where stuff gets thick. So there's a lot of 3-inch, a lot of 4-inch stuff that was kind of difficult to mow over. There's some nice rocks that I avoided. But yeah, lots of stuff like this. I mean, it rips stuff out of the ground. So this is like a pretty good chunk that is just ripped out of the ground somewhere. Check this out. So foot for scale. I mean, that's like a 5-inch chunk right there, maybe 4, I don't know. But yeah, I kind of just like destroyed this mostly and then left it. And so what I had to do is I had to start picking these up separately and throwing them in a pile because they just were getting in the way. And it doesn't really need to chop all this stuff because you can just like get rid of it somehow or throw it in a burn pile later. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive though. In about 5 hours, I cleared out this big path. And further down this way, I'm working my way into it. So I have this one. I'll probably clear trees all around it, cover this with a tarp, and then just like clear really far all in all directions, and then just light this on fire at some point when it's like raining. But yeah, I didn't make it any further past this, and I'll check out what I've been mowing. So there's some big stuff, like nice stump right there that I grinded down right here. This one I was trying to work down, but it's just like not really the right tool for this job to rip out like huge stumps like that. And like this thing I tried to work on, but it's just massive, so I don't think it's the right tool. But yeah, this thing is a beast. It's a really good tool for stuff that's under 3 inches. Really, really good tool. There's some stupid stuff going on with it though. Like, why would you put these wires out here? Because like huge branches, like there's one right here right now that's coming up through here. You roll in reverse, this branch comes up here, rips these wires out, rips this wire out. This yellow cap thing's gonna be gone. These are gonna get ripped out at some point. I mean, there's lots of like loose wires. This is pulled out 2 times. There's a little like sensor on the oil right there, and it's been pulled out twice. Just pop it back in. But yeah, it's just a bad idea. Like, why you put all these wires where the branches rip them off? Like, the branches pulled this out of its housing. So yeah, there's some stupid stuff with the machine, but it's a really cool tool at the same time. It is an absolute monster. I would recommend it. I'm happy with it. It's got its limitations and it's got a couple of things that are funny with it, but it's a good tool overall. Second problem came up. I was clearing some solidly 3-inch stuff. I don't think it was bigger than 3 inches. And somehow a tree got up in there and ripped off this guard. So this is the guard between, like, here. This is how it's mounted properly on this side. The little like 5/8 half-inch bolt or something like that. And somehow a tree got in there, bent the heck out of it, and ripped it out of the other side. So yeah, it literally ripped the bolt out on this side, which is pretty nuts. So I think I know what caused it though. It was the president. Joe Biden did that. I pretty much hate politics. And I think gas and oil prices are very complex because it's a giant system that has to do with lots of different geopolitical factors and market supply stuff right now. But I still think that sticker's funny and I'm gonna keep it there. Yeah, this is a pretty beefy piece of metal that just got bent and ripped in half. So cool. Save this thing for later. Wow, I just hit this huge rock and it just blew off the top of the rock, but the blades are fine. Dull, but otherwise fine. Nice. I put 2 solid 8 to 9 hour days of brush hogging with the mower in, and I'm gonna show you how much I got done. So here's my highway. Yum, over here. Zoom out, baby. And all of this stuff back here. I'm gonna put it on a quick time lapse. It's really far. So I am at home and I am clean after 2 full days of working with that machine. And here are my final thoughts. So there's a couple funny things with the machine. The location of the spark plug, which got broken within the first half an hour of me using it, and I had to replace it. That was kind of annoying. They should maybe put a guard over where that spark plug is so it doesn't happen. There's some loose wires on the left side of the machine that just kind of hang out and then go back into, they go into the casement somewhere. And they're gonna get ripped out. So I just know it's gonna happen. Like, there's no avoiding it. There's brush everywhere. It's chaotic. You're just mowing over trees, and so they're gonna get ripped out when you back up or something happens. So I'm gonna have to figure out what those parts are, order spare ones for when it does break, because it's bound to happen. So other than that, there's one sensor that is connected to something that goes into the oil pan, and that thing got knocked off a couple times, but you just pop it back on there. So there's a couple weird design things that DR did, but the functionality of the machine is insane. That thing absolutely disrespects any brush under 2.5 inches. You can just full speed walk over it and it just mows it down. It is absolutely disrespectful to that brush. Anything about 3 inches, you can take it down. You have to work at it. You have to really push and kind of just tip the machine up. If you tip it too far back, some oil will somehow spill into something where it gets into the pistons and it'll smoke a bunch. No big deal. The oil just cycles out and it stops smoking after a minute or so. But yeah, 3-inch brush, you can mow it down to the ground. I was actually using the machine to mow down some stumps that were 3, 4, 5 inches thick to the ground. You just have to tip the machine back and then slowly go up and down and grind them down. And then you have stumps that are flush with the ground that you can take out with a mini excavator or something else later. But yeah, that machine is an absolute beast. I am happy I bought it. The guard is broken, so I have to replace that already. But it didn't really matter. After the guard was out, it still worked the same, so I don't really care. I might not even replace it. I don't even know what it does. But yeah, the machine's awesome. I'm happy I bought it. I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. If anyone wants to rent it from me, just send me a message on Instagram. I'll give you a good deal on it. You could come rent it from me. Take a trailer and take it for a day, take it for 2 days, whatever. Interact with this video if you learned something, because I'm going to use any money that I ever get from YouTube to buy a skid steer and a blue diamond brush hog attachment, and I'm going to absolutely disrespect some even bigger brush in the future.